What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about ZBCN, Zebec, at the request of Odious Fury. Hit that like button, you guys. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it. Um, I've seen this one come up a lot. I've seen a lot of people request this. I've been meaning to talk about it. Unfortunately, here we are. Days later. I think that I first noticed the request down here. It would have been better to talk about it there, but here we are at the top. I will say, first and foremost, this time up at the top here seems a bit different than any of these other times. Maybe it has the most in common with this one up here, right? But even then, not really, not completely, right? Each time you've gone up here, you saw a rejection, right? A pretty harsh rejection. Here, that was a very harsh rejection. This time, you didn't persist lower. You actually consolidated up here. It's very tricky. Here, you just rejected immediately as well, right? Very similar to this one here. Here, what you've done is similar to this. You've rejected this area rather harsh, right? Yesterday or two days ago, you saw a 12% drop overall, right? Or from the open to close, not from the high to low. The overall drop was bigger than that, but it was a lot smaller than the drop that you experienced back here, right? It was a lot less of a sell wall, kind of just a take profit area, common take profit area. This is, by the way, this would be the 1, 2, 3, 4th time that you've interacted with the zone. Generally speaking, when you interact with a zone after 3 times, you expect to break it, right? If not right now, then at some point. But I would think right now, with the way that crypto is going. And then also just the different behavior here compared to really any of these other zones, you seem to be holding up better than you have at any other given point. You've been up here for about half a week now, a little bit over half a week. And beyond all of that, if you look at the RSI ratings here, you get overbought, you reject down. You bounce off the 50, reject the 60, and then you go lower. Here, you get overbought. You reject down. You bounce off the 50. You find resistance a little bit above the 60 this time, but then you go lower, right? Here, you get overbought. You reject down. This time, you didn't even find support on the 50. You found resistance, and that sent you lower. This time, not only did you get overbought, not only did you come down, but this time you found support on the 60. Nothing else found support on the 60. Nothing else did. This time it did here. You found support a little bit above it, but you weren't at this area in the price yet, right? You were lower, so not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about when you're in this area for the price, and then you reject down out of your overbought zone. I suppose here, to be completely fair, actually, where this closes, maybe it is very comparable to this. It's actually very, very comparable to this. So what we're looking for then would be continuation. Because this price here, by the time you're here in the overbought zone, that's actually very similar to where the price was here in the overbought zone. But tomato, whatever, man, I stand by it. You seem as if you're about to break out. It does. There are some similarities here and there with certain aspects, but on a general kind of scope, it seems as though this time's a bit different, right? The way you've moved up, the way that you've persisted up here and not rejected super harsh, the bounce off the 60 tells me that you're ready to go. Anytime you bounce off the 60, I don't care what time frame it is, it tends to mark continuation. I don't think it stops here. You're up about 7.95% right now. I want to take this high to this low and just see. Yeah, you're at your 886 consolidating around there. Ripped right through your golden ratio. Yeah. All the way up to your 886. Notice this, you guys. Notice this. This happens all the time. It's been happening a lot lately. Whenever you rip right through your golden ratio and hit your 886 like this, when you come from levels below your golden ratio and you rip through it and stop at the 886, you pull back to the 0.5 or the 382. If it's at the 786, you pull back to the 0.5 or the 382, or sometimes the 236. It's a little bit lower because that target's a little bit lower. But you found support at the 0.5, which to me is a very strong signal. You're back at the 886, bouncing off the 50 on the 4-hour. Your 4-hour RSI looks dominant as hell. I definitely believe that either today or tomorrow, sometime by the end of this week, certainly, probably over the coming days, you'll be breaking out of this range here, this range right here that you've been in for a while. I don't know too much about Wyckoff accumulation. I don't know if anybody knows about Wyckoff accumulation. It's like Wyckoff, Wyckoff, Wyckoff. But if you look up Wyckoff accumulation schematics, I'm curious to see. Let's do it right now, even, right? Let's just go ahead and do it right now. Wyckoff accumulation, sure. Wyckoff accumulation. I don't know. I don't know too much about it, but just looking at this here, you can see this long drawn out phase where you have you have a low here, a slightly lower low, and then an even lower low here. You have a high here, a slightly higher high, a lower high, and then a very similar high here in the same area. It goes up a little bit higher and you consolidate here, and then that's whenever you break out. We're not at that point yet. And again, I don't understand Wyckoff all that well compared to some people maybe. But we do have, I mean, it's not actually a lower low down here. If you take out the scam wick, this kind of is a lower low compared to these lows over here, but with the wick it's not. The highs kind of make sense, but we don't have that last high yet where we're consolidating here. I don't know. I'm not the best with Wyckoff, and I know that there's more than just this schematic. It's schematic number one, accumulation. There's more types of accumulation that can happen, right? This one here did not have a lower low, and it did not have a higher high afterwards, right? But I don't. Again, I'm not the most familiar with it. Maybe someone in the comments is who can see me struggling, and they can depict which schematic to follow here. But it seems like a very long phase of accumulation. That's all I'm trying to say. That's all I'm very poorly trying to say with my very limited understanding of Wyckoff theory, is that between June 2024 to February 2025, you have been accumulating. Accumulating means people have been buying. And whenever you get that, and you break out of that zone, you get a rather explosive endeavor, an explosive move that happens, right? These moves have been nice. 28% in a 3-day period here, 26% in a 3-day period here, but when we break out, you guys, you ain't seen nothing yet. It's going to go way higher than that. ZBCN, I want to see ZBCN here at about $100 million. You could definitely see this thing do a 100x or more by the end of the cycle. 100 million to get to 100x. That's a $10 billion market cap. That's not something that every crypto is entitled to, but it is an attainable number. $10 billion is a very attainable market cap to have. And $10 billion would give you a 100x. A 100x would put you at about 13 cents. So on the chart, 13 cents, you guys, that's all the way up here, right? That's your 100x. And it seems like you've just been moving flat, but we're out of scope. Whenever you scope in, you can see that you've been accumulating. When you break out, you're not going to see 100x overnight, but you're going to see a rather explosive move, and that's going to be your liftoff on this moon mission to 100x, okay? If you want 100x on this coin, now might be the last time to get in. That's all I'm trying to say. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor, but you've had a lot of time to get in before its maximum potential is achieved, right? When you break above the 0.5 here, just looking at the fibs, my assumption would be that you don't stop at the golden ratio, but that you go to the 786, 886 area. And just looking at the price, whenever you break out of an accumulation phase like this, I don't think you'd stop here. I think you would stop at these areas of resistance here, which also comes in line with the 886 and the 786. Now, this isn't something that I normally call for, but it's something we should anticipate nonetheless. That would be a 77% move. That would be a 108% move right there. We could go all the way up to the all-time highs at about 150% pump from here. And truthfully, I got to say that seems kind of small. I didn't realize that was, you were so close to your all-time highs. I think, you guys, I'm gonna turn the beat around on this real quick, okay? I didn't realize how tight you were to your all-time highs. I think you're gonna destroy this. I think in March you're going to be a rocket ship. You're not going to stop. I mean, maybe you have momentary stops along the way. Maybe it's not just a straight up endeavor, but it's going to be a straight up endeavor. You know what I mean? By the end of March, you guys, your minimum target is 285% away from here. Your maximum target is probably about 600%, and you could go higher. You could go up above 1 cent. You really could. You're at about 13% of a cent right now, and you could genuinely go up above a cent. Does that make sense? How does that make sense? I mean, it makes sense, but okay, I wasn't at it yet. I was like, how are you at a 5x here and you're just below a cent? But 1.3 cents is all the way up there, and that would give you a 10x. At the 1886, that's a very doable target. I don't know, man. The minimum target, I don't even know if that's a doable minimum. Like, that just seems too low to me. But 283 is what I expect the average altcoin to do in the month of March, or at least between now and the end of March. That's kind of an average move. So doing that, there's nothing wrong with that. Moving up above that makes you outperform the rest of crypto. You've been accumulating in a rather bullish phase. You're rather new. You might and you have a low market cap. There might be more to this than meets the eye, and you really could see something that's at about a 6 to a 7x by the end of March, if not something that is a 10x or more. But I can't really see you getting above a 10x. Watch it go ballistic and be the top performer of like the decade. I don't know, but probably new all-time highs are the only considerations that you should make whenever buying here, right? Not financial advice, not a financial advisor, but I think you're on a non-stop path now. You really are. What started back here in the very beginning of February, it's not ending until the end of March, and probably even then it continues past that, right? By the end of the cycle, you likely do see this thing hit prices that are around 13 cents or higher. That's my expectation. Probably even, if I had to guess, you have a decent chance of reaching 50 cents. But you're not even at a cent now. I don't know if that sounds good to you. Hit the like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this. None of the coins that I talk about are paid promotions. I know that I got a lot of new viewers in here, and I know that in crypto everybody does paid promotions. When I talk about a coin, if it's a coin that I've never talked about before, I talk about it because you guys request it, and I've seen it on the request for like a week, and I'm like, okay, the people want to see it. Let's talk about it. I don't get shilled any coins. I've been reached out to. I'm gonna bring up my big face here so you can see me. I've been reached out to by exchanges, small exchanges. At least I think it could have been scammers, right? But you never know. I didn't let the conversation progress, anyways. By individuals making cryptos, stuff like that. I have no interest in doing that old bullshit where I get a cut of the coin if I just talk about it. I don't care. I'm gonna make money without that, and I want you to make money without that too. I definitely don't want you getting screwed with stuff like that. So if you're ever wondering, why have I taken a sudden interest in a coin? That's kind of weird. It hasn't even done anything. It's just like. I'm not a shill. I don't get paid. Everything I say is literally free of advertisement. The only advertisement you get are the ads on YouTube, right? I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm not trying to sell you something that I hold that I can then make profits off of if you buy, or that I'll make profits off of regardless if it goes up or down. That's not how this channel works. The only way that I feel successful is if you guys are making money too. I want us all to make money. That's why the motto around here is let's get rich together. Okay, we're all going to get rich together as long as we don't panic sell and we don't do emotionally backed decisions, right? If you're buying here and then the price rejects a little bit, well, that should be kind of anticipated. I'm not saying that it will. In fact, I think you already have. But if you buy here expecting it to only go up, and then it sees a 20% move down, and then it comes back up, instead of being here at this day, you're here at this day. Why the hell did you sell at the worst time possible? You know what I mean? So be aware that it could move down. But likely, if you're buying here, if all you do is wait, and what got me on this whole tangent in the first place was, let's get rich together, and the best way to do that is to involve the least risk possible. The least amount of risk possible involves the least amount of movements possible. If you buy here, don't buy and then sell and then buy and then sell. Don't just buy and wait. You've got a ticket on one of the best carnival rides that exists right now. I mean, maybe it's one of the best, maybe it's just average, but it's going to be a fun ride. You're going to have a good time nonetheless. You got a ticket. You're next in line. It's about to rip. Just wait. Not financial advice, but if you buy here, just wait. No matter what happens, not financial advice. Again, it could dip a little bit. If it tanks, at that point, it's really too late for you to know that it's not a good time to get in, or that you should be getting out. If you want a contingency, if you want me to give you a contingency, at least what I would consider a good contingency. Let's go from this high, actually, high to low here. If you get back below, if you add a zero, you're at 2 zeros 1. If you get rid of that, if you make it 3 zeros anything, this thing's effed. It's screwed. Okay. If it goes to 3 zeros anything on a daily closing basis, you're screwed. You can wick down there, yeah, and that's the crazy thing, right? You could buy, the price could go all the way down here, and as long as it's a wick and it comes back up and closes up here, I don't have any problems with it. But if you close below this level, we might have some rethinking to do. And at that point, again, any person buying here, you're buying at a non-ideal price, because that's a 28% drop before you get to a real decision point. It's not ideal at all. But when you weigh that 28% risk versus the upside potential, which is quite literally like hundreds of percents. At a minimum, it's a 3.5x, and at a maximum, you've got over a 10x. I mean, weigh that risk yourself and see if it's worth it. I don't know. The charts look good. The daily RSI looks good. Where you're at looks good. I definitely think this thing's about to break out. I've got nothing else to say. I feel like I'm just rambling at this point. So hit the like button, subscribe. If you buy here, if I were to buy here, it's not in me to chase. I don't think you're necessarily chasing here. I think you're buying preemptive to the breakout. Some people do it this way. Some people actually wait for the breakout before they buy, right? And in another sense, it's more risky to buy here than it is to buy here, because when you buy here, you're in a breakout mode, so you know it's going to be there. It's going to be hard for people to buy there too, because when you're in breakout mode, you don't stay there, so you would need some like stop loss limit orders up there, or stop limit orders, not stop loss, stop limit orders, if you know what I'm talking about. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you might just have to do a market purchase up there, or get really lucky, because in a breakout move, you just move really fast. You won't have time to put your limit orders in and get it all set up. But if you buy here, the risk is that you could find resistance here, as you have before. If you wait till the breakout, you buy there, there's less risk because you're in a breakout mode. So you might have to buy at a higher price, but you get the peace of mind, the less emotional stress. If you buy here, you have to accept that you could reject. You could go lower than this low, and that's the thing. That's the whole point I'm trying to say here is, if you buy here, you have to have that conversation with yourself. It's okay if it drops. It's not ideal. You're buying at a non-ideal time. It could just rip through the roof. It could reject, which is totally normal and fine if it does. So don't panic if it does. Just buy and hold. That's my opinion. Not financial advice, just my opinion. I got nothing else for you. Hit the like button, subscribe. I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.